Hello, wonderful people. Welcome back to another yoga class. Today we have a super slow and juicy and restorative class. We've only got a few asanas that we're going to be holding for at least a couple of minutes. So this is a perfect class if you're just wanting to slow down and be with yourself. Now we do have a longer class, a longer version of this class on our Patreon account. I'll link that down below. And in this class we have the opportunity to use a couple of blocks if you had those at home. And that just allows us to deepen in our asana practice as well as feeling a little bit more supported. We'll also have options with no blocks as well. So if this was something that you wanted to check out, I'll leave that down below. We also go into a little bit more philosophy as well. Let's head down onto our backs to begin our practice. So come down. We're going to start in our Supta Baddha, which is our reclined bound angle pose. Soles of the feet might come together and the knees come out wide. Now we're going to have this class with no blocks, but if you did have a couple of blocks, you're more than welcome to bring them in. And if you did, you can support the knees by sliding the blocks under them. And this might feel quite intense, and at some point it may feel quite uncomfortable. So just know that you can release this asana whenever you would like. There is no pressure, there is only you and your body and you trying to listen to it and where it wants to go. Can we try and expand our breath? Feeling the whole of the balloon of the thoracic cavity expand towards the sky, towards the sides, towards the ground. And then just feeling that exhale drop you down. Letting go of any tension, any grasping, any holding within the body. Trying to let go of any busyness in the mind, letting go of any to-do lists, and just trying to surrender into this stillness of just being here on your mat with your breath. And anytime you feel intensity within the class, you can also breathe in to this intensity, breathe with this intensity. And by doing this, we allow ourselves to drop into our parasympathetic nervous system. And this sends signals to our mind, which go back to the body, that lets it know that it is safe to be here. It is safe to explore. Let's try about 5 more deep breaths here. When you're ready, you might take the hands around the outsides of the legs. Give a little bit of a push to help draw the knees up towards the center. And just for a moment, take the feet out and draw the knees together. Maybe a slight tuck of the pelvis here so the lower back draws towards the ground. Let's extend the left leg out long on the mat. Draw the right knee into the chest. And take a little squeeze. Pull the right knee in as much as feels comfortable here. Unwinding the leg slightly. Take the left hand around the outside of the right thigh. Right hand comes down to the side of the ground. Breathe in. And then as you exhale, can you drape that right knee over towards the left? Try to keep the right shoulder towards the ground. And if you felt like a little bit more rotation here, try shift your hip back slightly before you drop the knee down. And the right ear might turn towards the ground. And can you soften the eyebrows, the eyelids, and the jaw? Two more deep breaths here. Start to unwind. We'll swap it out. Extend the right leg out long. Draw the left knee into the chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. A moment of gratitude for our bodies and all they do for us during the day. Even just being here is quite a beautiful miracle. And then when you're ready, left knee over to the right, right hand towards the outside of the left hip. Maybe you scoop the hips towards the left a little bit as you drop the knee towards the right. Encourage that left shoulder and the left ear to come down. Two more breaths. When you're ready, come back through center. Grab the backs of the legs and just gently roll yourself up into a seat. Cross the feet over. Find your way into tabletop position. Couple of different options here. We can come into a child's pose, shifting the hips back over the heels. If you felt like a little bit more, try keep the hips stacked over the knees. Reach both of the hands forward for your puppy pose. Take a deep breath in. Exhaling to drop the chest down towards the ground. Lifting the tailbone high. And the forehead might reach towards the ground. It might even touch the ground. If you notice you had quite a bit of space within the spine, You might even lift the eye gaze up in between the hands. And just make sure that wherever you are, you don't feel any pinching or strong sensation. It is totally normal to feel discomfort, but a discomfort that we can breathe into, and we can let our bodies know that it is safe to explore. Can you think about the outsides of the shoulders trying to wrap down towards the ground? Thinking about the belly trying to pull down towards the knees. Two more breaths here. Try to wander the hands back underneath the shoulders. Deep breath in, find your neutral spine. Exhale, round through the upper back. Cat pose. Just for a little moment, maybe you take a little shift from side to side just to let the upper back unwind a bit more. We're going to extend our right foot to the outside of the right hand. You might shuffle that left knee back a little bit so that the right knee is stacked on top of the ankle. You could absolutely stay up on the hands. If you had space to do so, you could start to bend the right elbow. It may or may not touch the ground. If it does, you could try bend the left elbow down as well. And you could play with your eye gaze. You could have them kind of in between your forearms, or you could try turn the eye gaze underneath you, maybe looking towards the belly button. And just trying to let the hips soften towards the ground. Feeling the hip flexors gently release of the left leg. Maybe you feel this within around the right hip, maybe in the adductors or the glutes. Maybe you feel this in the back or the neck. One more deep breath in. Exhaling to let go. Start to walk your hands down to the ground if they were on the elbows. Draw the right knee back and we swap it out to the other side. So left foot steps forward, dropping the hips towards the ground. Little squeeze of the left knee towards the left shoulder. Again, you could stay up on your hands. If you had a bit more space, you could wander your way down. And if any of those to-do lists, or if any of those urges to be productive arrive, know that that is totally normal. Connect with your breath. Let yourself know that your only responsibility is just to be here in your body with your breath, witnessing the mind and your experience. Two more breaths. Start to wander your hands to the ground. Step your left leg back. And come down onto your sit bones. So, a couple of different options here. We could stay in a kneeling position, or we can find our Virasana, our hero's pose. And we can do that by taking our feet slightly wider than the hips and trying to sink ourselves down. If this feels quite intense, then if you had a pillow or a block nearby, you can slot that underneath your hips. If you felt ready to head back, if that's something that you wanted to try today, then maybe hands come towards the ankles. You could always have the hands back and just hold yourself here, or tuck the pelvis underneath you slightly. Elbows might wander down. And then maybe the head wanders down as well. And so what we're doing is that we're creating a bit of length through the front of the legs, the quadriceps, the hip flexors. This also is considered somewhat of a back bend, so we're lifting and extending our spine. Lengthen the breaths. One more deep breath in. Exhale, letting go. If you are on your back, gently press into the elbows. Tuck the chin in. Just roll yourself up. Final asana for our practice here. Cross over the feet. Extend both legs out long, Paschimottanasana. Both of the toes reach back towards you. Can you lift tall along your spine? Take a deep breath in. Bend the knees if you need. And then as you exhale, feel the hinge from the hips. So reaching the lower back forward. Keep reaching the mid back. Then the upper back. And maybe the hands come around the shins or the ankles, or maybe around the outsides of the feet. Letting the weight of gravity drop the chest down. Letting your slow breaths release and open along the back line of the body. Maybe down the back of the legs, maybe down the back. And just for the next 3 breaths, see how still you can make your mind. And start to wander yourself back. We will finish in a seat today just for the next couple of breaths. If you did have a little bit longer and wanted to find your Shavasana for a few minutes, then please feel free to head there. Otherwise, find a tall spine. Soften the shoulders. Letting your attention of the mind draw inwards. Maybe you bring your hands through heart center. Feeling all that space that you've created within the body, within the mind and the heart. Take a deep breath in here. Filling up, lifting tall, exhaling. Let's bow our heads in gratitude of this practice. Even though it was short, I hope that you enjoyed it and maybe it shifted some energy. And if you loved the class, let me know. I love reading the comments, so maybe you can share your thoughts with me. Anyway, I will see you next time, maybe through here, maybe on Patreon. From me to you, namaste.